Hi everyone, my name is Arthur. Welcome to our channel, English with Maple, and today we're going to be analyzing the poem From Long Distance. Let's get into it. So, Long Distance is a poem, first of all, written in 1978 by Tony Harrison, in which he describes his father's difficulties in coming to terms with his wife's death and all the emotions that come with that, and all the emotions precisely that Harrison himself experiences upon the death of his father. And the poem encompasses both of these feelings. So first of all, we're going to read the poem together, now that you know a little bit of the summary, and then later we move on to a more deeper analysis. From Long Distance. Though my mother was already 2 years dead, Dad kept her slippers warming by the gas, put hot water bottles her side of the bed, and still went to renew her transport pass. You couldn't just drop in, you had to phone. He would put you off an hour to give him time to clear away her things and look alone, as though his still raw love were such a crime. He couldn't risk my blight of disbelief, though sure that very soon he would hear her keys scrape in the rusted lock and end his grief. He knew she'd just popped out to get the tea. I believe life ends with death, and that is all. You haven't both gone shopping. Just the same, in my new black leather phone book there's your name, and the disconnected number I still call. Tony Harrison. So, like we already talked about, the poem is about how the poet's father cannot fully come to terms with the fact that his wife passed away. So in the poem, she has been dead for 2 years, but Harrison writes that his father still gets her transport pass renewed. He always warms her slippers by the fire. So this affects his relationship, right? The poet's relationship with his father, because he cannot just come and visit his father. No, he needs to call his father in advance and let him know that he is coming, so that his father can have enough time to clear his things, the mother's things, and in a way that he's clearing like the evidence of his behavior. So in the first 3 stanzas, he seems unable to comprehend his father's actions of love after death. And in the final stanza, however, Harrison's father is now dead. So the father now died. And despite his feeling towards his father's behavior, Harrison still keeps his father's phone number in his new black leather phone book, and he still calls the disconnected number. So it's quite sad. So a big theme over here is empathy, because the writer eventually felt what his father was feeling when his mother died. There's grief, obviously, because the poem in general talks about the rehearsal of the writer's father, right, in accepting the death of his wife. We talk about emotions as well, because it shows definitely lots of emotions. And we talk about the human inability to deal with the loss of a loved one. I would also say that a strong theme is pain. I like this part specifically. Let's take a look at why. Dad kept her slippers warming by the gas, put hot water bottles by her side of the bed, and still renew her transport pass. So in this quote, he continues feeling her, although she's already dead. So this passage for me is quite strong. And if we take a look at the form of this poem, From Long Distance is structured in 4 stanzas, right, composed by 4 verses each, and this is called a quatrain. Okay, so it's composed by 4 quatrains. And a Shakespearean sonnet, on the other hand, is composed by 3 quatrains and 1 couplet. Okay, so we have 12 verses in the Shakespearean sonnet and 14 verses in From Long Distance. So in this comparison, we can see that in the form, Tony Harrison is breaking the Shakespearean sonnet by adding a quatrain instead of a couplet in the end. Well, why are you comparing? Maybe he was just doing something else entirely different. Why does it have to be in comparison to the Shakespearean sonnet? Well, then you go to analyzing the rhyme scheme and the meter, right? So the meter of both the Shakespearean sonnet and the From Long Distance is in iambic pentameter, which is unstressed syllable followed by stressed syllable. And the rhyme scheme of the Shakespearean sonnet is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. And then we cannot say that it's a coincidence. It is a similarity, and this was, deliberately thought of, in which the rhyme scheme of From Long Distance is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, H, H, G. So it breaks over there, and then you start analyzing, like, why would he do that? And that's a question to you. So pause this video, try to answer the question by yourself, and then we can, I don't have the right answer. It's just my analysis, but I believe that we can appreciate the fact that he chooses to break the last stanza. And this is precisely the part where his father passes away. So it's to highlight, the father's death and how the father's actions with the mother now are the son's way of acting in the end, like his acting identically as the father was. And when you're breaking completely the rhyme scheme, and if you only get the GHHG, which is a new set of rhyme schemes, you can maybe change the letters, and let's give the letters A, B, B, A instead of GHHG. And if you form the word A, B, B, A, Abba, it means other in Hebrew. So I think it's quite interesting. Maybe it's a stretch, I don't know, but I think it's interesting, and we can do this like just changing the letters, because it's a special quatrain, it's a special stanza, precisely because of the fact that he is breaking it, the comparison between the Shakespearean sonnet. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the poetic devices that are used in this poem. So the metaphor, right, from long distance, first of all, in the title, or raw love or rusted lock. These are all metaphors, and I think that it's interesting for you to think what do they represent. Some of them are quite, straightforward, but it's, food for thought. There's a hyperbole when he talks about crime, right? As though his still raw love were such a crime. So this is definitely hyperbole. And the caesura. So the entire poem is enjambed, but there is, in the second stanza, you couldn't just drop in. You had to phone. So this separates himself from the rest of the world. You couldn't just drop in. You had to phone. And before that, he's describing all the actions that he used to do, like the mundane actions that he would do in regards of the mother, the father's wife. So this is exactly the break, right? When if you go to visit the father, you cannot just drop in, you need to phone. The enjambment throughout the poem could be interpreted as the father's behavior in maintaining a connection to the memory of the mother, right? The father is still doing this behavior, obviously before he died, but anyways, it's an ongoing behavior. And if we're talking about the behavior, then it transfers to the son, right? It's interesting also the use of personal pronouns in the poem, and this is used to make the reader, put himself or themselves in the speaker's shoes and empathize with the speaker because the speaker could not visit his father unannounced. The speaker of the poem could be interpreted as a writer himself, Tony Harrison, and he's taking the role as the parent's son. And we can see this definitely, I mean, he's writing the poem in first person, but he could be very much be actually relating his own experience of shared grief. Now, just to wrap up this video, I do have one question to make you guys wonder, to make you guys think, and maybe, who knows, write an essay. What ideas do you feel that the author is considering in this poem? Why do you think it's called From Long Distance? Do pay attention that I did not talk about the metaphors. I did say that there were some 3 metaphors that are open to interpretation, but it's interesting, maybe you could write about them. Why do you think the poem is called From Long Distance? And how does the speaker feel about his father's death? What changes in the final stanza of the poem? So all of those are valid questions. And that is it. I think I hope you have enjoyed this poem. It's also a very deep and emotional poem. And yeah, that's it. So don't forget to like this video, to subscribe to our channel to keep receiving contents like this one. Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you guys around. Bye.